Some wounds don't leave scars on the skin. They leave echoes in the soul. And no one talks about that. People notice when you're smiling. They notice when you're successful. But very few notice the exhaustion hidden behind your eyes, the heaviness you carry without words, the emotions you've buried so deeply that even you have forgotten where they came from. And this is exactly where soul healing begins. Not by pretending everything is perfect. Not by forcing positivity. But by returning to yourself. And for thousands of years, across different civilizations and spiritual traditions, crystals have been used as companions during emotional, energetic, and spiritual healing. Not because they magically fix your life overnight. But because healing has never been about escaping pain. Healing is about remembering who you were before the pain convinced you to become someone else. And that's where crystals become powerful. Because every crystal carries its own vibration, its own energetic signature. And while science recognizes crystals for their molecular structures and frequencies, spiritual traditions have long believed that these frequencies interact with the human energy field. Soul healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about coming home to yourself. And perhaps one of the most powerful crystals for soul healing is rose quartz. People call it the stone of love. But its true purpose goes far deeper than romance. Rose quartz teaches something many people spend their entire lives trying to learn. How to stop abandoning yourself. It gently opens the heart. Not by forcing forgiveness. Not by demanding happiness. But by allowing compassion to return. Sometimes soul wounds don't come from others. Sometimes they come from years of criticizing yourself. Years of feeling unworthy. Years of believing you had to earn love. Rose quartz whispers something your soul desperately needs to hear. You were always worthy. You always deserved love. And you never had to become perfect to receive it. Another deeply healing crystal is amethyst. Ancient cultures believed amethyst connected human consciousness with higher wisdom. And perhaps that's why so many people feel peace around it. Because soul pain often creates mental noise. Overthinking. Fear. Anxiety. Emotional confusion. The mind becomes loud. But the soul becomes silent. Amethyst helps create space. Not because it removes problems. But because it reminds you that peace exists beneath the chaos. Many people think healing means constantly feeling good. But healing isn't always beautiful. Sometimes healing looks like crying for no reason. Sometimes healing looks like releasing memories you thought were gone. Sometimes healing looks like resting without guilt. And that's why moonstone has been treasured for centuries. Moonstone carries soft feminine energy. It teaches surrender. It teaches emotional acceptance. And perhaps its greatest lesson is this. Not every emotion needs to be fixed. Some emotions simply need to be felt. Because suppressed emotions don't disappear. They wait. They hide inside the body, inside the heart, inside the soul. Until one day, they ask to be seen. And when they are finally acknowledged, healing begins. Labradorite is another extraordinary crystal for soul healing. Ancient shamans called it the stone of transformation. Because soul healing isn't only about recovering from pain. It's also about rediscovering your purpose. There are moments in life when people feel lost, disconnected, empty, as if they no longer recognize themselves. And often, that's not because they're broken. It's because they're changing. Transformation is uncomfortable. Butterflies don't become butterflies without first dissolving inside the cocoon. And human souls aren't any different. Labradorite reminds us that confusion isn't failure. Confusion is often the birthplace of awakening. Then there is black tourmaline. Perhaps one of the most misunderstood crystals. People often use it for protection. But protection isn't just about negative energy from other people. Sometimes we need protection from our own fears, our own doubts, our own self-destructive thoughts. Because some of the loudest negativity doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. Black tourmaline grounds the spirit. It brings awareness back into the body. It reminds you that safety isn't found by controlling everything. Safety is found by trusting yourself. Clear quartz, known as the master healer, amplifies intentions. But what many people don't know is that clarity itself is healing. Because when the soul is wounded, life becomes blurry. People forget what they love, forget their dreams, forget their truth. And little by little, they begin living for everyone except themselves. Clear quartz brings focus. Not by giving answers, but by helping you hear your own inner voice again. And perhaps that's what soul healing really is. Not becoming more spiritual. Not collecting more crystals. Not escaping reality. But removing everything that made you forget who you truly are. Because beneath the heartbreak, beneath the disappointments, beneath the fears, beneath the masks, there is still a soul that remembers. A soul that remembers joy. A soul that remembers love. A soul that remembers peace. And maybe the reason you were drawn to this message wasn't random. Maybe your soul has been asking for healing long before your mind realized it. Because souls don't scream. They whisper. Through exhaustion. Through emotions. Through synchronicities. Through dreams. Through the strange feeling that something inside you is changing. And if you've stayed with me until this moment, I want you to answer something honestly. Which crystal has found you repeatedly lately? Rose quartz? Amethyst? Moonstone? Labradorite? Black tourmaline? Or perhaps a crystal you cannot explain, yet somehow feel deeply connected to. Because sometimes we don't choose the crystal. The crystal appears when the soul is ready to remember something it has forgotten. And what if the crystal that keeps calling you isn't trying to change your life, but trying to bring you back to yourself? Because the deepest healing doesn't happen when you become somebody else. It happens when you finally remember who you've been all along.